this is a person I respected tremendously, very, very senior person. He's told me, he said, Lou, I want you to stop doing this. I said, okay, sir, I certainly can, but may I ask why? And he says, well, we already know what it is. And I said, okay, sir, so it's ours? And he said, no, that's not what I'm saying. He asked me point blank, have you read your Bible lately? And I wasn't quite sure where he was going with that. And I said, well, sir, I think I know what it says. Where are you going with this? And he said, well, then you would know that these things are demonic and we should not be pursuing them.
So this is a Pentagon, this is a Department of Defense official saying, stop looking at UFOs because they're demonic?
Correct.
And what I've been trying to do is to use the special privilege that I've been given of getting access to a Harvard education and a law school education and with the Jesuits and all the different people and meeting, Baba Muktananda and getting to meet all the spiritual leaders of our people and our planet, is to try to develop a really intelligent, sophisticated, spiritually informed, but rationally developed set of policies for our dealing with extraterrestrial civilizations.
Both of us, separately, without communicating, we're studying this and going, wow, there is something going on here.
Right.
Since this is out, it's in Congress, and they're discussing this right now. This isn't conspiracy.
Sure. Yeah,
something
absolutely.
weird's going on here.
Absolutely. Very eye-opening.
A pillar of fire at night and confused Russian troops. It has some asking, are Ukrainians receiving heavenly help?
There's some miracle happened. It looked like some spaceship, like there was like an attack from the spaceship. There was some kind of a lightning was starting shooting from the sky, and like sparks were like spreading everywhere. And then on the morning, they've discovered that the whole machinery was destroyed.
Revelation 16 says these unclean spirits, they go and they perform signs and wonders. And Jesus warns in the Gospel of Luke, and it's repeated in the book of Acts, chapter 2, that there will be signs in the heavens. And a lot of people are going to be seeing things in the skies in the last days. The Bible says that in prophecy. So we need to know what the truth is, what to believe and what not to believe, because I think that evil spirits are going to use that to manipulate people in the last days.
If you're an alien and you want to get baptized, the Pope is in favor of it.
Pope Francis reiterated his view Monday that everyone has the right to be baptized. And apparently that invite extends even to Martians.
We've only seen the public version so far, but here's what we can tell you. Government investigators seem sincerely baffled by what these things are. Today's report analyzed 144 separate sightings of UFOs by the U.S. military. But in only a single case could the government explain what it was.
We're now less than 16 minutes away.
The strategy that Wernher von Braun taught me was that first the Russians are going to be considered to be the enemy. In fact, when I met him in '74, they were the enemy, the identified enemy. We were told that they had killer satellites. We were told that they were coming to get us and control us, the dirty commies, that whole story. First, the Russians were the enemy against whom we're going to build space-based weapons. Then terrorists would be identified, and that was soon to follow. We heard a lot about terrorism. Then we were going to identify third world country crazies. We now call them nations of concern. But he said that would be the third enemy against whom we would be needing to build space-based weapons. And the next enemy was asteroids. Now at this point, he kind of chuckled the first time he said it. Asteroids, against asteroids, we're going to build space-based weapons. So it was funny then. And the funniest one of all was against what he called aliens, extraterrestrials. That would be the final card. And over and over and over, during the 4 years that I knew him and was giving his speeches for him, he would bring up that last card. And remember, Carol, the last card is the alien card. We're going to have to build space-based weapons against aliens, and all of it, he said, is a lie.
14 minutes, 30 seconds and counting.
You know, there were no questions that prepared me for what I was about to get into. You know, people often say, "Oh, it must have been fun and must have been exciting." No, it was pretty sobering. You know, I liken this conversation to like having a conversation with a loved one about maybe cancer. Now, the good news is the diagnosis looks fine. You're going to recover, but it's a serious conversation. This is something that we are challenging people to reevaluate their philosophical, psychological, sociological, and theological belief system. Anytime you ask humanity to do something like that, it usually takes generations. You can't just pivot because, you know, for example, let's just take culture, for example, of a country. It's like an aircraft carrier. How long does it take to turn an aircraft carrier? Well, it takes quite a bit of time and a lot of effort and whatnot. Well, this topic is the same way because we're challenging people to reconsider, if you will, reevaluate their understanding of what they've been told about the universe and more importantly, our place in it.
These so-called alien beings are actually manifesting at times as dead relatives during the abduction experience to challenge a person's belief system as Christian theology in the idea that dead relatives can be talked to or even spoken to, or that they're even around to be able to hear what we have to say.
No evolutionary or religious belief system shows that this will end well by contacting these things. Evolution says that these things are likely to be superior, and so survival of the fittest will destroy us. Religion says that these things are deceptive and dangerous, and the evidence, if you want to include all the theory and all this, the stories that of these sincere people, it says they've damaged crops, they have mutilated cattle, they've abducted people beyond their will, they've messed with our highest security protocols, they enabled and disabled dangerous warheads, forced pregnancies, forced surgeries, burned victims, killed pilots, and lied to people. And most experiencers have experienced at least one terrifying alien experience. So to say that these things, they haven't destroyed us yet, so they must be good, is to deny the fact that there might be a universe, a court, saying these earthlings are protected here on earth. And that's what Christianity believes.
The Defense Intelligence Agency has just released that program's 2010 report on UFOs. And among other things, the document tells us that the government can prove that UFO sightings have caused radiation burns, paralysis, and brain damage. The report also says that some people who saw UFOs experienced, quote, perceived time suspension. They also saw ghosts and other spirits. In all, that report lists 42 cases of adverse effects from medical files and another 300 adverse effects from unpublished cases, whatever that means.
We've passed the 11-minute mark. Now T-minus 10 minutes, 54 seconds on our countdown.
But what they're saying to us now is it's going to affect Christian belief. There is a professor for the Pope's University in Rome, and he is a very highly respected intellectual. His last name is Tanzaniti. And he has written a paper now in which he is saying that very soon, not right in the beginning, we won't have to deny our Christian faith in the beginning. But there is information coming from another world, and once it is confirmed, it is going to require a rereading of the gospel as we know it. And that's the kind of information that we are receiving from the highest levels of Vatican intelligentsia.
Mark, T-minus 10 minutes and counting, T-minus 10.
If you really hear what I'm saying about the nuclear weapons, the UFOs were turning our weapons on, and just so Russia could pick up that we're firing our missiles and fire theirs first. It was a big chess game. So these guys went into complete secrecy to start coming up with a defense system against this phenomenon.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are. We can't explain how they moved, their trajectory. They did not have an easily explainable pattern. And so, I think that people still take seriously trying to investigate and figure out what that is.
There are things flying around up there that we haven't fully identified yet. And keep in mind, there are basically 1 billion galaxies in an ever-expanding universe. I mean, you can't even get your mind around the sheer number of things that are out there.
But you've seen this.
And
you've seen the data.
Well, no one knows, but I think that the probability is that there's something you would call life somewhere else.
The mission of ATIP was quite simple. It was to collect and analyze information involving anomalous aerial vehicles. What I guess in the vernacular you call them UFOs. We call them UAPs.
You know how this sounds. It sounds nutty, wacky.
Look, Bill, I'm not telling you that it doesn't sound wacky. What I'm telling you is real. The question is, what is it? What are its intentions? What are its capabilities?
They told me that the reason why we're an experiment is because we, right now, are a living, breathing, walking, talking peace treaty.
My name is Tom DeLong. Most people know me as the founder of the popular rock and roll band called Blink-182. I started a company called To The Stars that eventually became To The Stars Academy of Arts and Science. We are literally the group that is responsible for why you read about UFOs in the papers today without all the stigma. It's the first time that we had the videos properly declassified. And because of that, then we had information as far as altitude and speed, eyes on target, different radar systems, different sensors that all corroborated what was happening.
When people start to understand more about the UFO phenomenon, and when they follow what Secret Machines is going to teach them, and mind you, as we'll talk about this in a little bit, it's not all coming from me, it's coming from other people of the highest places. The term the occult in that whole world is much more a part of the UFO phenomenon than, and that's part of what makes it more complex than just little green men in flying saucers and tinfoil hats. There is a very, very strong link between what people think demons are from the Bible and other religions and the UFO phenomenon. And what you have is something that doesn't like man, period, and something that feels either jealous of or has some kind of plan for what man is to be.
Over the next 10 years, I have now worked with over 400 cases of people that have been able to stop the abduction experience in the name and authority of Jesus Christ. This is documented
But what they're saying to us now is it's going to affect Christian belief. Very soon, not right in the beginning, we won't have to deny our Christian faith in the beginning. But there is information coming from another world, and once it is confirmed, it is going to require a rereading of the gospel as we know it. And that's the kind of information that we are receiving from the highest levels of Vatican intelligentsia.
We're now passing the 4-minute 30-second mark in the countdown. Still go at this time.
And the priest told us, could I have a little bit more? Your time I want to do something very fascinating. He says the grain plain, the master's grain plain, for harvesting the nations, for harvesting the multitudes of the earth into his cause, just before the close of the great controversy between the forces of good and evil. So we continued, after we expressed ourselves that we're deeply interested to know more about the activities of spirits. And he said it's going to be done in a unique manner. This grain plain is going to take people are going to eat the stuff. Because he says spirits, demon spirits, will declare themselves to be inhabitants of far distant planets in the galaxies that are coming to warn the inhabitants of planet Earth of the impending destruction of the planet unless something seriously proper is done to avoid it.